This may or may not surprise you. Well, we'll see. You have to decide. Is it worth it to make your own barbecue sauce? Maybe. We're gonna break down the ingredient cost, the efficiency in making your own barbecue sauce, or should you just buy from the store? So here's a store-bought. Here is a homemade version. There's a reason it's in a bowl. I will tell you that here in just a minute. So let's get to deciding, is it worth it to buy store-bought barbecue or make your own at home? Price breakdown for barbecue sauce, store-bought versus homemade. Okay, I just grabbed kind of a common / basic barbecue sauce. This is a smaller 18 ounce for $2.29. It does get a little cheaper if you get larger, but I was trying to go for, I guess the next size up would have been too much to compare with these two. I know it's not going to be as close as when we did the homemade marinara, but there you have it. So I would say $2.29-ish, depending on, and more, depending on the brand that you like. For the tomato sauce and the tomato paste, that's going to be $1.75 plus a little bit each of these other ingredients. Is altogether going to push us closer to $2.50, but we're going to get a smidge more. So ingredient per ingredient, it's going to be pretty similar. Okay, so we're gonna make a homemade version of this with tomato sauce and paste. I think that makes the best consistency. We're gonna add some mustard, some Worcestershire. My goodness, I cannot say that word. I can spell it, I can't say it. I bet you can say it and not spell it. Anyways, vinegar, garlic powder, onion powder, paprika, brown sugar. I also added ground mustard because you could use that either swapped for the yellow mustard or half and half, or however you like to do that. Again, the great part about making homemade is you can get just the flavor that you like it. Okay, I'm gonna switch over here to the stovetop and we are going to get this homemade barbecue sauce made next. Okay, homemade barbecue. I'm using my skillet because my saucepan is dirty. I know I could clean it, but I'm trying to be efficient here. All right, I'm just gonna use my mini spatula to scrape this out. And then I'm gonna use it next to get out the tomato paste. Again, I like this consistency because tomato sauce is too thin, but tomato paste gives it that thicker, like when you squirt it on your plate, it stays in like a little pile or whatever. You know what I mean. All right, let's see here. Let me get all this out of here, and I'm actually gonna whisk this together so that it'll incorporate a little faster. Let's see here, let's turn on our heat. I'm just gonna start with high heat. Okay, this is our Flisk. If you don't have one of these yet, it's a 3-in-1. You can turn it from a balloon whisk into a sauce whisk, which is the middle setting, into the flat whisk, which is what I have here. It's super easy. You just give it a little twist. That's the sauce whisk. You want to like really get your sauce nice and aerated, and of course the regular whisk. So either actually any of the 3 settings would work for this. So my thought here is to get this, warming it up will help it incorporate a little better. There we go. Once this tomato sauce starts to pull in some of that heat, this is the perfect consistency. This is also the other reason I like to use the tomato paste and sauce combo, is we are gonna thin this out. This looks pretty thick here, but we are adding Worcestershire vinegar and mustard. So that's gonna thin this out even further. So using like a large and small of tomato sauce is just not really gonna work. We're gonna add in a 1/4 cup of Worcestershire. And a 1/2 cup of vinegar. So I'm just gonna use the same measuring cup and just do 2. Okay, let's whisk this together. I can already see it starting to bubble. Look at that. The bigger surface area of this skillet means it heats up real quick. Look at that gorgeous color. It's going to change color again when we add the mustard. I love it. There's just something magical about food. I don't know why. I sometimes like, I don't know, personify food, get amazed by the colors, you know, whatever. This is the food nerd in me. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and use a little, what's left of this yellow mustard, and then, which is probably only gonna be about a teaspoon, and I'll use ground mustard for the rest. All right, we're gonna reduce this already. That bubbled real quick. I'm gonna reduce this to medium for the moment. I'm gonna go ahead and do a tablespoon of the ground mustard since I didn't have enough of that. I could use a Dijon or a spicy, but I'm just gonna use the ground mustard because I have it. Lots of brown sugar. That's 3/4 of a cup. And then I'm gonna do a tablespoon of paprika. I have too much in my hands. 1 tablespoon of paprika. I'm going with the sweet. I do not want that smoke flavor in this. You can certainly get smoke flavor by using a smoked paprika, using liquid smoke, or adding a little bit of cumin. Not much, won't take much to get a little smokiness from the cumin. Okay, last but not least, a teaspoon of garlic and onion. I'm just using powder here. I want them to be completely melted in the sauce. I don't want this to be like a chunky barbecue, if you will. Okay, so again, fairly simple to do, fairly simple to add, fairly basic ingredients, getting everything mixed in here. And I'm gonna reduce this now from medium to low, let it simmer for a couple minutes, and I will be back with the comparison and recap. Okay, I let this simmer for a little bit. I transferred it into this larger bowl, and I'm gonna put my silicone lid on it and keep this in the refrigerator up to 7 days. I'm going to be using this week with a dinner of some kind. So also the kids will be using it for their regular dipping of things that they like to dip. I don't have like a squirt bottle. I could have, I suppose, put it in a quart-sized jar, but this will just be easier to scoop out and dollop as we need to. So there we have it, our homemade barbecue sauce in comparison. It's not quite twice as much, but I would say 1.5 times from that particular recipe. So dollar for dollar, a little bit cheaper to do the homemade. Now, is it worth it to make homemade barbecue sauce? I would say the only situation in which it's worth it is if you really love experimenting in the kitchen and you're looking for a little bit more of an exotic flavor that maybe the store doesn't have. There are, I feel like, a zillion types of barbecue sauces, and it's something that people, you know, experiment and get to perfection based on what they like, or whether it's for some sort of a cooking contest or summer barbecue or whatever it may be. So if that's you, this is a great base recipe to start with and then fiddle from there. But it is a little time consuming. When you do a marinara, you're already working on like browning ground beef and doing other things in the kitchen. So this feels like a little bit more of an independent sort of a sauce making task, I suppose. Maybe not, depends on how you're using it. But anyways, that is that. My final opinion is I do not think it's worth it to make your own barbecue sauce. Unless, again, you just love experimenting in the kitchen. Start with this as the base and then get to it. So for my boys, convenience and how much they dip things in barbecue, we've never been like a ranch family. I know a lot of people dip things in ranch. We're like the barbecue family. So that's us. So we will just continue with our store-bought. I'm always looking for the best prices, looking for different flavors like this. This is just kind of the basic one from Sweet Baby Ray's, and also looking for the most affordable, which is generally the larger containers or getting them from the warehouse store. And there we have it. I'm going with store-bought barbecue sauce. Maybe you're not. Let me know in the comments either way. Give me a thumbs up if you agree or if this video was helpful. Also, be sure to subscribe to the channel. We're releasing new videos in this Is It Worth It series all the time, as well as other helpful budget cooking hacks, how to cook videos, freezer cooking videos, and all of that. So hit subscribe so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos. All right, it's bye for now, and I'll see you in the next episode.